This
All right,
analysis comes with
guys,
a price.
we are back after a week off. We're back in the multi-million-dollar studios. We got our producers, we got our makeup artists. We're back for UFC Brazil and Sao Paulo, or however you say it. I think Brad should say
Come
it.
on, man. Sao Paulo.
Sao
All right,
Paulo.
Sao Paulo.
There you go.
We're back. We're going to talk about the main card a little bit, and then we're going to hop into the best bets. So hope you guys are ready. Also, check out the Instagram before we get into this. Straight above me, check out the Instagram and the X at Spar Scene, then at Spar_Scene. Check us out on there as we're posting clips. A few of you guys have found us already and have been in the comments a little bit. So enjoy that. Lurking.
Speaking
Talking
of
crap
that,
about
we
Ducky.
had one of our guys, go ahead and say it's Simon, got his car broken into. So one of you guys, I think, thought it was Alex's car for that hot take on Jose Aldo. So yeah, you got the wrong guy.
Unfortunately,
Simon's car was broken into, not Alex's.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys. I think I know who
you
it
know
was.
what? It's another win for the true GOAT, Jose Aldo.
That's some brutal comments in there.
All right. So let's hop into the main card. You guys can go ahead and kick it off. You guys have some thoughts about this main card coming up?
I do. So we've got Derek Lewis versus Jailton Almeida, heavyweight tilt for what's definitely some title contention, I think, for Jailton. For Derek, you know, he's always a couple of steps away. He's had a couple rough losses recently, but he rebounded with that crazy flying knee. And he looked really in shape, actually, which I think is a great sign for Derek. Like when he comes in and he's in shape and he looks motivated like that, he's a difficult guy. I mean, we forget he knocked out, my goodness, who was supposed to be in this main event, Curtis Blades, with an uppercut as he was coming in for kind of a sloppy shot. And he always has that power. The question is where his mind is at, because less than a week ago, I guess he was in Houston or wherever he was at. He was probably driving to the airport to come to the fight, but he was speeding like 80 miles over the speed limit, got arrested, got out on a bond. They asked him about it. He goes, just look at the picture. That guy's got hair. I don't have hair. It's the wrong guy. So always reliable for fun, Derek. Honestly, I don't know what to make of the fight. I'm staying away from it for the bets. Brad, you were saying before this that we don't know where his head's at being down there in Brazil.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of distractions in Brazil. And Derek Lewis is a guy who I think gets easily distracted by those kinds of things. But you had a good point about him being in shape. I think taking this fight on short notice, at least somewhat of a short notice, not being able to get a full camp in, I'm curious to see how that affects him, because obviously his fights don't go past the first round more often than not. And Almeida's a fast, quick guy, also very powerful, explosive. So I want to see how Derek can kind of play the game against someone who's more athletic. I'm kind of like a Tom Aspinall kind of guy, and not so much like a Spivak or some of the guys that he's lost, like Tuivasa, those guys. So it's a different style that I think will be even tougher for Derek Lewis. So I think he's in trouble this weekend.
Yeah, and I don't want a replay of Charlotte. You know, we saw Jailton fight Jairzinho Rosenstrike, and it's like he walked over to him and like put his finger on him, and then he fell over with a double leg. There's definitely different levels of takedown defense that we could practice, and just like a little bit of a sprawl, a whizzer, something, just to try to hold him off. I mean, Jailton hasn't lost in a really long time. I think it's been like 15 fights, and his last loss was at middleweight. So, you know, he seems to have an endless gas tank at this weight class. The only thing I worry about is that his stand-up is quite limited. He's got some interesting, like a nice front kick, and then he uses, like, I think a left hand usually to close the range. He'll use those things, and then boom, goes right for the shot. But you got to appreciate, he goes straight to his money game. He knows he's going to force the back. He opens up with ground and pound. The person turns. He forces 3/4 mount to the back. It's very Damian Maia, actually, the way he kind of forces that system. Before this, we were actually talking about the DC fight against Derek Lewis. Derek fought for the heavyweight title in Brooklyn, I believe, against DC. And DC kind of got him against the fence, hit a single, ran the pipe, and took the back and choked him. And the ease with which he was able to get to that path has me worried for Derek. But at the same time, I really root for Derek, and I would love to see him shock the world here. You know, maybe he comes in a little sloppy, Jailton does, and maybe gets caught with an uppercut, maybe something crazy. Derek's not easy to hold down, man.
I mean,
Not
if
at all.
Sergey Spivak gets a sub, I think Almeida can get a sub. And I think once he gets down the mats, he's gonna fold, in my opinion. He's not a guy who can take damage or get dominated and fight back and win the fight. You look at Tuivasa, he got cracked with 1 or 2 shots and he just like folded. You know, he's kind of like weak mentally, I would say. And I think when Almeida gets him down, he's just going to give up his back, and I think it'll be over pretty quick.
Yeah, but we have seen a lot of jokes online of in past fights seeing Lewis just get up. His jiu-jitsu is just getting up.
He gets white belts.
Yeah. So maybe with his new body that he has, he's got, you know, the 6-pack, 4-pack, whatever he's got now, he can just get up with that strength. But I don't think it's really going to happen with Almeida. But hey, you never know. This might be a new Derek Lewis, a new fighter,
a new leaf. Like if he just like does a Turkish getup, and he's like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore.
I wonder why he took this. Why he took this fight in Brazil on short notice, though, against a guy like Almeida, who's like a prospect, you know, exactly. But that kind of shows what kind of
coming off
also
a win
shows,
like that.
Yeah, that too. But I think it kind of
shows
shows
the
where
upsets too.
He's kind of just taking fights whenever they come. He just signed a new deal, I think, after his last fight, like 6-fight deal. So yeah, well, he got some cats running around.
Yeah, they're causing trouble, knocking candles over, trying to burn the house down.
No, but I think he'll fold. I don't think he's ready to fight a guy like Almeida.
Yeah, I definitely think that Derek is one of those guys that he's kind of like Cowboy. Like he's just ready. He comes out and he fights and wins, loses, wins one. It just doesn't seem like he cares as much about the legacy and the record. Yep. He's here to just have fun. Moving down the card, though, did want to take a little bit of time to focus on probably the showcase of this card. And UFC's definitely placing these guys in matchups that might backfire. I don't know. But we've got Gabriel Bonfim and Ismael Bonfim. They're both fighting. Gabriel, I believe, is the one with the more established record. He's a straight killer, savage. He's going to fight Nicholas Dalby. Now, people who don't know Nicholas Dalby, guy's pretty good, man. He's got a hell of a record. He's got some sneaky fights. Yeah, a great cardio. He drags you into these long, messy fights, kind of like my goodness, we had that skinny guy back at UFC Noche who lost to, oh my God, I forget the name of the fighter, but he just ground it out. You remember what I'm saying? And he just did it. He just ground him out with just pressure and tension. He can have a good showing here. Nicholas Dalby had a crazy fight in Cage Warriors against, I believe, a guy named Russo. They had to shut the fight off because there was too much blood. Anyone who ever wants to see a crazy fight, I think it's like 2019, is a great Cage Warriors fight before he came to UFC again. But Bonfim is like one of those guys. He's a destroyer. I just don't think Nicholas Dalby has the firepower to survive that first round because this guy comes out, he stalks, man. He just stands right in the pocket, throws. His guillotine is money. He's incredible, man. What you guys think?
I think Dalby's just too stiff. He's too tight. He doesn't have much power from what I've seen. He's just kind of like a hard-nosed guy, but he's not dangerous, you know? So I don't think he's a threat to Bonfim. He's a tough guy. He's not easy to put away, but he's also not like a finisher. So I think if he goes to the ground, I think that's his best way to kind of just either just win 3 rounds, you know, just ground and pound or take his back and win the rounds or just finish by submission. But I think this is a pretty easy fight for him stylistically for Bonfim to win.
It's a showcase.
Yeah,
I'd have to agree. Gabriel's also coming off 4 submission wins, and then before that, he got a knockout. So he's on a roll right now, and I think Nicholas is just in the way of the train right now. So,
but his brother lost to Saint Denis, Benoit Saint Denis. He came out swinging in the first round, and he lost. He got submitted. I think he did, but I think he should also win against Vince Pichel. Vince is an older guy, so I think he should also get the win, but I think Gabriel is the superior of the 2 brothers.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Vince Pichel. So I saw him live, I want to say the previous UFC Charlotte, forget who he fought, but he did put on a hell of a show. This is an interesting guy. I have a weird feeling that Ismail might have a problem with him
He
if
could.
he's not careful. He's got to be careful. It's hard to put Michelle away. He's one of those guys, like, you might be able to grind him out by decision, by output and volume and things like that when you're the younger fighter. But what he does is he just stays in there. He just keeps on.
He reminds you of
he's a
Cub
crusher.
Swanson a little bit.
His style.
Bit.
Yeah. The mustache and all that
Look
stuff.
good, like tattoos and
That's that SoCal kind of way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
let's get into some money, some best bets.
Yep.
Let's throw up the
So
champ.
it's time. So it's time for best bets or new introduction. Let's get it going.
Oh, show me the money, huh? Show me the money.
Love Chucky Olives. He's the best.
Here we go. Best bets time, baby. Let's get it.
All right,
For our
we
first
started
best
today.
I'm going to start on the undercard, the later part of the prelims. We have Renat Fakhratinov versus Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos, who we have not seen in a while. The dude's a freak. He knocked out Sean Strickland with a wheel kick at welterweight. Are you kidding me? This dude's, he's freaky. He's really good. Dos Santos, I mean. But I fear that he's one of those guys that's like super flashy striker, is probably going to get taken down and held down by Renat. Renat is control-based, very, very slick way to fight to win decisions. He's the only guy who's been able to handle Brian Battle, our hometown boy, who is a savage. He's on the come up. I think he learned a lot from that fight. It was an important fight, though. And he had a good showing. He didn't get finished. And that's saying a lot, because when Kevin Lee tried to come back to the UFC, Renat, he basically dropped him and hit him with a front choke and put him to sleep in the first round. It was really bad. And I just see this guy as a real hammer. So I'm being really careful, guys, whether there's finishes or not. I'm going money lines because I'm scared. So I'm doing money line on Renat Fakhratinov. This guy's, he's got this one, I think, in the bag.
Yeah, it should be a good fight, though. I'm excited to see that one. Because Dos Santos has a capoeira style, his background. So he's kind of like a kick, like, flashy striker kind of deal. But I think, like you said, he's going to take him down and probably get the win just on the ground, maybe by submission, maybe by just winning round after round. But my best bet for my first one, Denise Gomez over Angela Hill. I think this line is like minus 130, Denise Gomez. It could easily be minus 300 in my opinion. I think she's 10 times more powerful than Angela Hill. Angela Hill has pillows in her hands. She can't really do much damage, in my opinion. And Denise Gomez can put somebody out. If you watch her last fight, the first round, she comes out with a huge left hand and just drops her immediately. And just seeing that power, I think Angela Hill gets hit a lot anyways. She's a sweet girl. She fights like every 2 months, it seems like. But I think she's going to, I would say by knockout, but I'm just going to go straight win. Just in case. But I think Denise Gomez easily wins this against Angela Hill.
Nice.
All right, for my best bet, I'm playing a little safe this week. As we said before, my car got broken into, so I had to cash out some money for that. So my picks, I'm going to put them in a parlay, even though we don't do parlays in this. It's kind of like just individual picks. But if you like these picks, I'm doing a Brazilian parlay for this weekend. So for my first one, we just talked about him. I'm going with Gabriel Bonfim, just by money line. Like I said, he's coming off 4 submission wins. I thought about doing a submission to get better money out of it, but I mean, I feel like a finish either way is going to happen. But I'm just going to play it safe and go with the money line. He's definitely one of the better brothers. He's definitely one of the top prospects in the UFC. So going with a little safe bet there. I mean, there's not too much money to be made, but like I said, I might put in like a parlay stuffer or something like that, but I really like that pick. And I think this is a pretty easy toss-up fight for Gabriel Bonfim.
Yeah, I think he's got that one in the bag. And speaking of Brazilians who are on the come-up, surging prospects, we've got Caio Baralho against Abus Magomedov. Abus is kind of like our cousin Lurch. He's a fraud.
Bro, who put that guy against Sean Strickland? Who made that matchup? Like, where is this guy? Fight. Come on.
Didn't expect it to be that bad, but he definitely got
embarrassing,
handled.
Dude. He gave up in the first round almost.
Yeah, it seemed like it's almost like they wanted Sean to have a get well fight.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
And here, he's going against a surging dude that's freaky, and he's very athletic. He's had great decisions recently. He's fought on that card where I think Oliveira fought against perhaps Islam. I think he was on the undercard of that on the pay-per-view. But he's been under the big lights. I'm not worried about him crumbling under pressure. His ground game is solid. His striking is solid. And the reason why I have a lot of confidence in Caio is because I've seen him get hurt and tested. And he, like you're saying, when you see guys give up, I'm not criticizing them. What I'm saying is it makes me worried that pressure is going to get to him. Like with Derek and Jalton, if he starts to get tagged and hurt, I'm worried he's just going to go inside and say, all right, you know what? I've resigned myself. I don't want to get embarrassed. Let's just let this thing go. With him, I see this constant staying in the fight, intelligent. He's very intelligent on how he wins rounds. I think we're going to see a decision from Caio. I think Abbas is definitely going to make a better account of himself here, but I don't think that's going to be enough here. So I'm going with Caio Borralho by decision on this one.
I like it. So my next pick is something we talked about earlier before we started this show. Adolfo Vieira and Armen Petrosyan. So my pick here is going to be Petrosyan. It's kind of a pick-em fight. The line's moving a little bit both ways. He just fought Leroy Duncan, who was a Cage Warriors champ. He won that fight. Adolfo Vieira, he almost lost to Cody Brundage by knockout in the first round, but he survived and then got him in an arm triangle. I think this is an easy fight for Petrosyan, man. I think Vieira's he's a jiu-jitsu guy. That's all he kind of has is just a ground game. Standing up, I think he's going to get pieced up left and right. I could easily see a knockout. I'm gonna say Petrosyan by knockout. I was gonna say money line, but I'm gonna go by knockout. I think I don't think Vieira can go 3 rounds on the feet with Petrosyan. Petrosyan has the height advantage as well. I think it's a good bet by knockout Petrosyan. Yeah,
big time.
So I'm gonna go ahead and copy Alex, but this is the second pick for my Brazilian parlay pick. But my best bet, I'm going Caio Borralho. I'm mainly picking him just because I've watched his past fights and I really like him as a fighter, but mostly just because I think Abus, like as Brad said, is a fraud. And Caio is a hometown guy. I think he's got this in the bag. And also, I always see him in the background. I looked up his camp is Fighting Nerds. But I don't see anybody else super recognizable from there. But I always see him in the background of a lot of videos and embedded. He's always with some of these top Brazilian fighters. So I think he surrounds himself. He must travel a lot. I should have probably done a little more research, but I feel like I always see him with a lot of the top guys in training with him. Hey, I saw it though. I mean, I'm just seeing.
Come on, be more prepared. What are we doing?
I've seen him in the background. Oh man, I don't know.
You're lurking on Instagram posts.
Yeah. But yeah, I have seen him in the background of like a lot of these videos, and I know he surrounds himself with a lot of other good fighters. So, yeah, Caio Borralho,
it's kind of like
just
money line on him.
Yeah,
I think of after class jiu-jitsu picks and training picks. Every guy immediately has that feeling like Ricky Bobby's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. So they just go like this, just hang loose, boy. It's the only thing you can do. I mean, what else would I do? What gesture is acceptable? What you're saying, though, is correct. Caio Borralho is known for going to a bunch of different camps and training with all kinds of different people and different jiu-jitsu guys, too. He goes around and tries to pick things up. It's kind of an interesting thing because as guys get it further along into their career, their games crystallize. And they're like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. If it doesn't work, whatever. They're not adding new tools to the toolbox. For me, my last pick on this one, man, it's a little scary. I'm going to take Vince Pichel by upset against
plus money.
A chance. And it's the only, it's like, do I do it? It's going to give me anxiety, but I have a feeling that he might be able to upset him. I'm not so sure it's going to be a finish, but he's a difficult guy to put away. And we've seen some of these guys, man, when they're really explosive and muscly intense, like Rodolfo Vieira, like what you're saying, I could see that same kind of thing playing out. The only thing is Armen Petrosyan is an even better kickboxer. He's nailing you in the legs. He's nailing you and just making you think about shit. So I think here it's not going to be as bad of a beatdown, I don't think. I think it'll be close. But I just have a feeling we got an upset by decision from Vince Pichel here. Pichel from him.
I like it. I like it because Ishmael is very loose. Like he's just kind of wild, throwing left and right. You know, he gets, I think there's a lot of openings in his game you can probably catch him with, just because he's so just crazy and there's no really regard for caution. My third bet, I'm gonna go. He's like a minus 250 favorite. But I like it. Daniel Marcos. I like him. He fought Davey Grant a few months back. Dude, his distance management super good. So I think against Victor Hugo, he'll be fine. Victor Hugo is more of a grappler as well. He goes for a lot of the leg attacks. He fought in the Contender Series literally a month ago. Almost got the guy in a heel hook, ended up get him in a knee bar. So he's good on the ground and gets the feet and the ankles and the knees, but then again, you're taking a lot of damage going for those submissions. You know, when you go for the legs, your face is just vulnerable to get, punched at left and right. So I think Daniel Marcos will be good. I think his experience, his fight IQ is just better overall. And he beat Davey Grant, who's super talented. I mean, he's a dog. So if you beat Davey Grant, I feel good about, this guy coming off the Contender Series and Victor Hugo. So I think this will be a good, just straight money line pick for Daniel Marcos, the Peruvian.
Nice. For my last pick, I was going to stay away from this, but I kind of made a last minute audible, and I think I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to go with Almeida by submission. I think right now it's like minus 150. I don't know. I think it's just I'm not super confident in Lewis as much as I wouldn't mind seeing him winning and might be slightly rooting for him. I think Almeida is just one of the best grapplers in the heavyweight division, if not the best. And we've seen Lewis go against these dominant grapplers, and he's definitely struggled, even though he can just get up sometimes. But at minus 150 for a submission, I think I'm going to take that.
I like it. There's a lot of good fights. Like I would bet on a lot of these fights this weekend. I mean, even the first fight of the prelims, Mark G. Casey against Caio Fernandez, making his UFC debut. G. Casey can get upset here, dude. He's minus 185, but I feel like he can lose this fight because his stand-up's not too impressive. His wrestling's good, but
it's getting better. But G. Casey, he takes some eggs sometimes, man. You're right.
He might get caught, man. This guy's powerful on the feet that he's going against. Also in Brazil, so he's in his hometown. So that's another fight that I would watch out for. Also, Modestas Bukauskas against Vitor Petrino. Bukauskas is like a plus 240 underdog. I think he's a live dog as well this weekend. He's dangerous.
If somebody wants to get super crazy, they could bet against Gabriel. I don't recommend it, but if you want to be super anxious watching a fight, you can do it. But I think they did a good job putting this card together because it's a lot of action fights. It's action fighters. It's a lot of people who go for it. It's not caution. It's just savages left and right. And it just reminds me of some of those sleeper cards. Like I think Yair Rodriguez was on one in New Mexico one time where it's like everyone kind of thought, this is going to be bogus. The card sucks. And it was just like nonstop wall-to-wall finishes. I think it's exciting. But maybe I'm just, desensitized because I had a drought of fights and all I had to talk about Fury and Ngannou, so now I'm just sad. So I'm like, it's UFC, it's back. I'm just excited again.
Those Brazilian fans are going to be loud too, so it's going to be a lot of energy in the building. So I think they'll feed off of that and have a big night for a lot of these fights.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, too, if you like these bets, you can with some of these fights being larger odds or kind of different type of odds, but you can put our picks in a parlay. I mean, that's also an option. If you like a few of these picks, 3 or 4 fights, you can get some plus money out of that. But that does it for best bets for the UFC Fight Night in Brazil. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, check out the TikTok. We don't have the link, but you can check out the Instagram to check out that. We're posting clips every week. You guys are liking them, like I said in the beginning, or not liking them. So, but
give us some
backlash. Yeah. Well, that's why we love this sport, though, right? It's we all have our opinions, and it's all fun and games. So, again, thanks for watching. We hope to see you guys soon. Peace out.
Show me the money.
Yeah.